Okay, my beautiful friends, here we go. It is still Wednesday. This is my post-market wrap-up, February 26th, 2020. Before I talk about these markets, I just have to get this out. People are freaking out about me. Well, why would that happen? Yes, I lost a lot of weight. I lost nearly 40 pounds. Why? Because I became pre-diabetic and I decided to take that seriously. Now that I've lost nearly 40 pounds, my numbers are fine. I feel strong and my abdomen is ripped. Ripped. I am proud to say that. No, I'm not dying. I don't got some kind of horrible disease. I definitely don't have the coronavirus. And I'm not going to get it either. Anyway, nor am I getting the vaccine, which is now being tested. Anyway, so look, I wanted to clarify that. I keep getting all these comments about, yeah, lost a lot of weight. On purpose. I think being pre-diabetic was a wake-up call for me. It really was. All right, look, here we go. Let's just get that out of the way. People, this is interesting, what happened in this market today, and I spoke about this before it happened. I told you what I would do if it happened, and something else that we must now keep in mind. And I'm warning you right here and right now. So don't say that I didn't warn you, because I keep getting that. Oh, Greg, you sold all your stocks on Friday. You didn't tell anyone the stock market fell 2,000 points. Not one. I did two warnings. And I told all of you I sold my stocks. How many other guys out here, or girls, financial people on the planet, come out and tell you what they're going to do when they're doing it? Like me, I bought Bitcoin at 3,700. I started loading up on cryptocurrencies. I got to laugh at that too. I got these people out here. Greg added to his Bitcoin and Litecoin positions recently, and they're down. Greg is losing money. Duh. Really? Let's see. What is Bitcoin now? 9,000? I bought it at 3,700. I'm doing pretty well. I think I have a handle on this market, not just the stock market, but pretty much every damn piece of it. And I want to talk more about that because we're going to hear from the president tonight. And I'm going to tell you what's going to come out of his mouth regarding the coronavirus in just a moment here. So here's the situation. Big sell-off on Monday. Big sell-off on Tuesday. And markets today, big reversal at the high. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up over 460 points. The Dow finished in the negative 120. That's not good. In my opinion, here's the warning. There is now an air pocket underneath the stock market. It is very possible, in fact, probable, that we are going to see yet another steep drop in this market reasonably soon. It also depends on what comes out of the president's mouth later. You understand? He is going to try to doctor this market during his coronavirus speech later. Okay, it's all scripted. You know that. He's going to go teleprompter to teleprompter to teleprompter. And that's just the way it is. Just like the last guy, Obama, teleprompter in chief. So what we're witnessing here again is some type of a freak show. What do you and I know? What have we known for years? I'm sorry. We have a stock market bubble built on the back of a monster. That's the debt bubble. We've been watching the yield curve invert. I told you years before it inverted the first time that it would. I took a lot of heat for it, but yeah, it did invert. We inverted again, and today, the 10-year yield hit a new intraday, it hit an intraday record low. It did bounce off of that 30-year. Look, the yield curve continues to crater, and it was cratering prior to the coronavirus. The stock market was in a bubble prior to the coronavirus. The debt has been in a bubble prior to the coronavirus. But every story you are going to look at, it's the coronavirus's fault. It's not the fact that we have an economy in free fall, nor the fact that the stock market's in a bubble. No. It's all the coronavirus. everything. This is the narrative of the mainstream media. This is how you know. They're trying to brainwash you. I'm not saying this is not a serious thing. People have died. There's no doubt about it, and people are getting ill. But it's all the coronavirus fault. Everything. Again, it's not the bubble stock market. It's not the monster debt bubble. It's not the economy in free fall either. No, it's all the coronavirus. And what you're going to hear later from the president is what you would expect to hear. Everything is okay. It's under control regarding the coronavirus. And then he's going to call, and I would be very surprised if he does not do this. I could be wrong, but let's listen for it. He's going to call on the Fed. Now, let me ask you, how does the Federal Reserve pumping more debt into the markets or anything else stop the spread of the coronavirus? Let me explain this to you in case you don't know. What is the first thing that you would expect to be done if, let's say, an illness, any illness, one that is easily spread from one person to another, what is the first thing that should be done? Maybe it should be contained. Exactly. Contain the virus by not allowing people to congregate, stuff like that. And look, all this is all well and good, but the hype here is a little too much for me. Again, I don't trust a single, not one, mainstream media outlet, whether it's from China, whether it's from the United States or anywhere else you want to look. I don't trust any of them. Zero. So if you want to believe the stories and the pictures and whatever you're seeing on the mainstream, well, go ahead. All right, that's your prerogative. Me, I don't buy any of it. I don't buy any of it. I have my own intellect and I use it just like you should. Am I right all the time? No. Am I proven to be correct most of the time? Yeah. And again, for those of you that are going to go, yeah, the virus is a real thing and people are dying, okay? But again, when every single thing right now, market's down, it's the coronavirus. Crude oil is down, that's the coronavirus too. The yield curve is collapsing. Meanwhile, it's been collapsing since how long? That's the coronavirus too. It's all coronavirus. Corona. Wherever you turn, corona. Really, it's ridiculous. It's utterly stupid. And look, you could sit back and you could buy it, stay afraid, cautiously, of course. Or you could do what I have done publicly. Like I explained to you. Keep the high ground with regard to your financial positions. If you're locked into this market on the long end, you got troubles, no doubt about it. But you still should be betting against the debt, becoming your own central bank, looking for alternative assets, anything, artwork, whatever you like to collect. Own things. That's what this is all about. I collect all kinds of things. I really do. And it's important to be diversified. Obviously, what's my favorite asset on the planet? Exactly. It's physical silver. Hoard it. It's going to be your saving grace in this thing that is coming down the pike. There is no doubt about it. Let's talk about a couple of other things today. Crude oil cratered. And I'm going to give you one guess as to what sector of the market got hammered. Of course, it's the energy sector. Financials also took a beating. Not as bad, but did take a beating nonetheless. Now, if we have an environment here where crude oil is cratering, the yield curve is cratering, it's going to be hard for this stock market to hold any kind of gains. Like today, Dow Jones Industrial Average up 460 something points. Couldn't hold it. Reversed that into the negative. Finishes minus 120. This is going to continue right now, regardless of the coronavirus. Regardless of that, okay? And again, all this has been going on before the coronavirus. But again, you must be convinced it's all the coronavirus because our world leaders have lied to you on an epic scale. How many times have you been told by not just the president, but all these mental midgets, okay? Booming economy, adding jobs, strongest economy on the planet Earth. We're all doing great. Around the world too. No, ignore this, that, and the other thing. We're all doing good. We're all rich. You remember that one from the president? We're all rich. Yeah. No, not everyone is rich. It still is pathetic to know that 1 in 4 Americans are borrowing from their credit cards just to make ends meet. It might even be 1 in 5. It's incredible. Consumer debt, household debt, personal debt at record highs, defaults on auto loans, defaults on credit cards, skyrocketing. This is it. Our debts and deficits are exploding, and they're about to get much worse. And I would be willing to bet yet again, you're going to hear the solution to the coronavirus and everything else is more debt. And who are you going to hear it from? The president, out of his mouth. The Fed's behind the curve. They should be cutting rates. Meanwhile, candidate Trump said that artificially suppressed rates create big, fat, ugly bubbles. Remember that? But no. Not anymore because the coronavirus. I know I'm beating this like a dead horse, okay? But seriously, never panic. Don't let your mind be twisted because then you're going to freeze. You're going to not know what to do. And that's the goal too. Keep people petrified. They kind of freeze up. No, the video didn't freeze. I'm just showing you. You see that? That's what people do. When their brain becomes overloaded by fear or whatever it might be, they don't do anything. And that's what they don't want you to take action. Believe me. You're supposed to sit there like a deer in the headlights and be sheared. Don't you know that? That's what you're supposed to do because that's what zombies do. And the zombie apocalypse is a real thing, honestly. So let's go back to this market real quick, people. And I'm going to warn you again. So don't say I didn't warn you here. What we're witnessing is not good. All right. A cratering yield curve is the biggest sign you can ever see that our economy is in free fall, but you can't know that. You're supposed to think the yield curve has been cratering for years. We've been watching the yield curve drop, invert, get straight for a little while because of the Federal Reserve, and then crater. But you know, all that from years ago, that was also because of the coronavirus, because the market knew that it was coming from like 2-3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. You know that, right? Because that's what they're going to try to convince you of next. But the fact is, the yield curve has been screaming for the longest time that our economy is in a lot of trouble. Okay, so there we go. And it's not just the U.S. economy, it's the global economy, but you can't know that either. A scapegoat must be found, has been found, and if you ask me, the timing of this is very, very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. Keep people distracted, make them look here. They don't care who they have to kill, who they have to make ill, destroy. Again, it's all a game. It's a distraction. It's an illusion. You're not allowed to know what's really going on here. This, in my view, is a setup. And the way that the mainstream media is blaming every single thing on this virus should tell you something. All right, if it doesn't, you obviously are having a hard time thinking outside the box. You got to break out of it. If you don't, you're in a lot of trouble. I don't know another way to put that either. So anyway, look, with regard to this market again, and this is a warning yet again, today's action in the stock market, to me, creates an air pocket, meaning no bottom. You understand? Or a bottom real low in this stock market. So don't be surprised. I want you to be ready for it. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you must always have one thing. Do you know what that is? It's the high ground. You always have to have the high ground. And you always have the high ground by being ready, by being prepared for a worst case scenario. Whether it's the stock market, whether it's anything else, you always have to be ready for the worst case scenario. The fact that we have had 3 consecutive days of stocks dropping, the fact that crude oil is cratering, the fact that the yield curve is cratering, historic lows with regard to the 10-year and the 30-year, you think this is an environment where the possibility of another big drop in this market is not just possible, but more than likely going to happen? Let me tell you this too, and I know you lions out here get it. Markets find a bottom when there is a big surge of panic selling. Yeah, we've had this market drop over 2,000 points this week. That's not panic selling here. That's not panic selling. As a matter of fact, if you watch this market trade at the end of the day, there was a lot of buying and selling going on. There was no panic selling going on here. So what does this tell me as a guy who lives and breathes these markets? That an air pocket exists. Let's see where that goes here. And I know you are ready for it because I'm warning you right here and right now to be prepared for it. Always be prepared for anything at any moment to happen. You understand, people? It's really the truth. Okay, that's it. I can't think of anything else I want to talk about here today. There was a knee-jerk into the dollar. Dollar did gain a little bit of strength here. Metals got hit. Look, the fact that cryptocurrencies are taking a hit here too, you have to understand they're volatile. They are volatile. So you should expect that too. If you're a guy or a girl, and I know there are a lot of you out here that are putting some cash to work here or taking Federal Reserve notes and putting it into an asset that you actually own. You don't own the dollars that you have. You understand that these moves in cryptocurrencies are to be expected. And again, the trolls out there who just look for a reason and pick on whatever they got, good, let them do that. Because all they do is look like idiots. I've made them look like idiots for years. And I will continue to do so. And I'm damn proud of that. I really, really am. All right, look. This guy right here loves you a lot. That is the truth, people. So now that I know that you are ready for whatever comes down the pike, that you have the high ground, and you have been warned here, I can sleep better tonight. You understand? So let's see how this plays out over the next few days, a week or so. You know, maybe we'll get a miraculous turnaround here. All of a sudden, there'll be a cure for the virus. We'll see. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's see how the president spins this tonight. Let's see if, and I have no knowledge that he's going to do this, but I would be a little bit surprised if he doesn't talk about the Fed here, because the only answer is debt to him. The president wants more debt. The Federal Reserve is more than willing to issue more debt in epic amounts. Why? Because it's their final solution, to be the lender and buyer of last resort. Chuck Schumer wants $8.5 billion from the federal government to fight this virus. Well, being that America, our country, is broke, we have no money, we're in debt, $24 trillion. Let me ask you, where is that cash coming from? Oh yeah, it would be the Federal Reserve, wouldn't it? Of course. And they're going to be more than happy to supply it. Just like the calls for negative rates, just like the calls for whatever we are getting it, people. We already have them in real terms. It's an incredible situation here, and we're going to get from the president, maybe even tonight, yet again, calls for negative rates, for the Fed to print money. How does the Fed keep rates suppressed? By adding digits to a screen and buying the debt. Nothing can make a central bank happier than a world leader calling for more debt, because that is the product of world central banks. They produce one thing. Like I said, let's say you made hair dryers or toothbrushes. Those were your product. And you had the president of the United States saying, buy hair dryers, buy toothbrushes. And wouldn't you be happy? Yeah, I bet you would. So believe me, I'm going to show you what Jay Powell is going to be doing tonight, laying in his bed, flipping channels, if the president mentions negative rates or the Fed should be doing more. This is going to be Jay Powell. That's going to be Jay Powell. Yeah. All right, I'm going to leave you. I'll leave you off with that. See you in the morning. Love you a lot.